The city of Dearborn, Michigan has been getting some new unwanted attention the past few days after a video clip went viral of its Muslim mayor telling a Christian resident, who apparently is a pastor as well, that he is not welcome in the city. The remark was made following the resident's objection to renaming of a street in the heart of Dearborn after a newspaper publisher who has made pro-Hamas and pro-Hezbollah statements. Is this the type of message we should be hearing in America? Should this concern us? Joining me now to discuss this, Dr. Andrew Bostom, author of Sharia Versus Freedom, the Legacy of Islamic Totalitarianism. Dr. Bostom, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to see you.
Good to be with you, Tony.
All right, for those in our audience who are not aware, can you give us a little background on what's been unfolding in the city of Dearborn and what makes this unique?
Well, Dearborn is one of, I believe, a couple of cities now in, I think Hamtramck is the other, that has a Muslim mayor. It has a very large, now it's a majority Muslim community. And what you're seeing play out are what a lot of us have feared, is that in a predominantly Muslim enclave, city, town, etc., you will see application of Islamic law, and you know, this isn't a clear-cut case of, for example, blasphemy, criticizing Islam's prophet Muhammad, but what this pastor did is go against the mores of the community, where this is, in their eyes, this is a respected Muslim, and how dare a non-Muslim criticize the decision to name a street after him? And obviously, I don't think there's anything legally that can be done to the pastor, but there may be all kinds of extra legal pressures put upon him. And the point is, Tony, that this is not considered negative from an Islamic perspective. This is the way Christians are supposed to behave in a Muslim community. They are supposed to bend to the will of the Muslim majority and not do anything that offends the sensibilities of Muslims.
But is that the American way, that we have to surrender our First Amendment freedoms because we're living in an enclave of Muslims?
Of course not. And the problem is that we don't have the political strength, the religious strength, the social strength to just say this is intolerable, and there should be higher officials in the state of Michigan that chastise this mayor and even threaten him if they have to. And federally things should be done to threaten funding to Dearborn.
He said this from the city council in his role as the mayor. So it wasn't like he posted this somewhere on social media.
Exactly.
He said it from his official post and capacity. Now, let me set something, because there are going to be people who say, well, you believe in religious freedom. What if a Christian was the mayor? Well, okay. But let me there's a difference between Islam and Christianity. Christianity allows freedom. Christianity actually allows this Muslim mayor to be a mayor in America. Let me ask you this. Is there a Christian mayor somewhere in a Muslim country telling a Muslim resident that they have to leave the city?
Of course not. And it's far worse than that. There's not a single Muslim country or region where Christians are free and safe. And in fact, what we're seeing right now in real time is the tragedy of what's happening in sub-Saharan Africa, where countries such as Nigeria, Congo, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Niger, the Central African Republic have massacred or forcibly displaced millions of African Christians, jihadists, allowed to roam free in these countries within the past 10 years. And there's about 34.5 million people that have been displaced across sub-Saharan Africa. Essentially half of them, about a little over 16 million, are Christians. Christians in many Muslim countries can be detained without trial, arrested, sentenced, and imprisoned. They're incarcerated for their faith in Bangladesh and Iran. They're being driven underground in places like Yemen and Algeria, and even a society that gets a lot of attention, the vestigial remnant Christian community living under the rule of Palestinian jihad terror groups is almost extinct. and the surviving families have moved abroad or are trying to leave.
But all of those things that you just talked about, the harassment, the arrest, the persecution of Christians in Muslim countries, that doesn't happen here in the United States of America.
Of course not. Not to Muslims. Muslims, certainly it's in vogue. Have a protected status in this country. We monitor so-called Islamophobic hate crimes, and there's all kinds of public opprobrium cast upon anyone who says something that's deemed negative about Muslims. It's the opposite.
That's the difference between Islam and Christianity. We welcome people into our home. We just don't want them kicking us out of our own home.
Right, but I think, Tony, ultimately, there's nothing that this mayor did from his perspective, from the mindset of a leader of really what's a Muslim community now. He did nothing wrong. He's protecting the mores of this Muslim community, and the problem is us. The problem is the non-Muslim political and religious leaders that are afraid to call out these behaviors and just label them as unacceptable.
It's a matter of courage and intestinal fortitude for us to stand up and defend the Constitution and the Judeo-Christian ethic and foundation of that Constitution. I think we have to be willing to say those things.
Absolutely. Otherwise, our hard-won freedoms will dissolve.
Yeah.
And we will basically be functioning under, if not the letter of the Sharia, the spirit of the Sharia.
Dr. Bostom, we got to leave it there. Always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tony.